If you're looking for the slightest bump in sound along with a major bump in appearance, well then the MBRP 5-inch installer filter back system is certainly going to be worth a look. Now this option will pack the affordable aluminized steel build along with the massive 5-inch tubing and even bigger 6-inch stainless steel tip, all for right around that mid to high $300 price point. So right out of the gate, guys, I do want to point out that if you're looking for a huge increase in volume over your factory system, well, the filter back option from MBRP probably isn't going to be the one for you. Now, the reality is most of the volume is controlled by the DPF system on your truck, and with that still in place, any system can really only get so loud. But since this is an exhaust video after all, what do you say we break out our Wake the Neighbor scale? And I'm gonna give the MBRP a soft 2 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale. Now, in my opinion here, guys, you do pick up a little bit more volume with this system in place. Nothing crazy, of course, but I also picked up a slightly deeper tone overall. And that's something I really enjoy. Again, you're not getting a huge difference in sound with this in place. I just wanna be perfectly clear. Now, because you're not changing the sound too much, things do remain relatively tame inside the cab as well while cruising, and that's always a nice thing to point out. But there is a little bit more to the MBRP system outside of the very small bump in volume. Now, for starters, the Canadian-based company claims that this will help cool the exhaust flow a bit more, up to 200 degrees in fact, which in exchange should result in a little bit of power gained along with a little bit more torque. Again, that is MBRP's claims, guys, and we cannot personally verify those numbers at this time. Now, if the customer reviews are any indication, I would say most Power Stroke owners are installing this system to improve aesthetics or appearance more than anything. And as always, guys, feel free to check out those reviews ultimately before pulling the trigger. Now, the installer system does improve things in the appearance category by replacing the dingy and kind of puny factory tailpipe and tip setup with a single piece of mandrel bent 5-inch tubing. As you can see, guys, this is pretty huge. Of course, all exiting out of the massive, and I mean massive, 6-inch stainless steel tip embossed with that MBRP logo. Now, the tip does exit in your factory location, and the increase in size over the stock stuff certainly seems, I would say, a little bit more fitting on a big truck such as the Super Duty. But let's get into some of the finer details with the construction and build of the installer system. And if you didn't know, guys, the installer system is the company's entry-level offering due to the more affordable aluminized steel material used in the construction in place of the more expensive stainless steel. Now, because of this, I would caution owners in states that see a lot of road salt during the winter months, as the aluminized steel will certainly end up corroding a bit faster compared to a full stainless steel system. Now, in fact, MBRP does offer some stainless options on the site for your Power Stroke for a little bit more dough. Again, they are full stainless, so therefore they are going to get a corresponding lifetime warranty as opposed to the 3-year warranty that you're getting here with the installer. Now, if you live in a state like Florida or Arizona, for instance, well, obviously this isn't a huge deal, but if you live in a state like New York or upstate New York, for instance, well then, certainly something to consider. But materials aside, guys, again, you're getting that massive 5-inch mandrel bent tubing throughout here. It is going to connect at the DPF side and then again exit in the factory location behind your passenger side rear tire. Everything is going to exit out of this howitzer-sized 6-inch tip, again, guys, embossed with that MBRP logo. Now, this guy's actually made from 304 grade stainless. I always like to point that out because ultimately, this is the part you're going to see the most of the system, and because it's 304 grade and not even 409, this is going to be the best at reducing or resisting corrosion. So yes, you might see some corrosion on your aluminized steel tubing over the years. You got that 3-year warranty behind you, but the tip, which again, you're gonna see the most of, this puppy should look good for many, many years to come. But now let's shift gears and get into the install, and the site's gonna call this one a pretty solid 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and about a couple of hours to get everything bolted up from start to finish. Tools needed for the job will include a socket set, wrench or driver, or impact gun. An Allen wrench set will be helpful to get that tip in place. You might need a cutting tool on this one, so just be prepared there. Penetrating oil will certainly help loosen up any existing or rusty bolts. And of course, don't forget your eye protection if you are cutting. But now to give you a better idea of how things will go down on your Super Duty at home, here's an AT customer to walk you through the job.
Hello, my name is Rudy. I'm going to be installing this 5-inch MBRP single exhaust side exhaust system onto my 2017 F250. So there's that right here. So what we have going on is we have the crew cab. In the instructions, it's going to let us know where to cut it at. Per instructions, we are set to cut it at 17.75, 17 3/4, and that's going to be from the base of the flange. From there, we'll measure out 17 3/4, and we'll go ahead and cut that mark. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some penetrating oil. I'm going to put some lubrication in the rubber joints where we need to separate the connections of the piping, the hangers. So we'll go ahead and do that right now before we get everything else situated. There's a little tight spot here, so I'm going to go ahead and show you where to lubricate this stuff. Alright, we also have another hanger over here. Go ahead and get that joint right there. Alright, let that go ahead and soak in. And we're going to go ahead and get our pipe that we cut. So that's 17 3/4. It's gonna leave a little bit of burrs and all that, so we're gonna go ahead and clean that up. We'll also do the insides. All right, nice and clean. So we'll go ahead and get our other tool situated and start pulling some piping out. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this 15mm socket. Go ahead and pull this section out. Okay, got one side out. Okay, one more bolt, one more nut actually. Go ahead and get this section out. And make sure you have one hand on there, make sure it doesn't fall on top of you. You do have these studs popping out, so that holds it in place. So what you want to do is you want to push what you can, the other piping that is connected to this side, push it as much as you can on that end so you can get these studs out of the piping. So we'll get one side out, pushing that out, get it to the side. Alright, and this section is out. So you'll have some gaskets here. You want to go ahead and save those, leave those in place. We'll take this section out. Actually, we'll leave that section there. Move this to the side. And then we're going to need to get a wrench to get that sensor out. So So we'll go ahead and get that wrench out, proper size, and pull this other section out. We do have these hangers here, so it might be an issue. We might have to unbolt the hangers and all that, but we'll see if we can get this hangers out since they're all lubricated. Alrighty, so here I am underneath the truck. We're gonna go ahead and take this sensor out. Went ahead and lubricated the sensor right there. Make it a little easier on this. And what I am using is a 24 millimeter wrench. Make sure to put some anti-seize on this once we're getting ready to install this back into our new piping. There is a bung on there to where the sensor goes onto. It's really nice. It's nicely tigged up. Good seal. So, have this out pretty soon here. See if I can loosen it by hand. Here we are. So anti-seize will make a difference here. For some reason, you pull it out again. We'll go ahead and make sure to be safe on that. Leave that hanging. And what we'll do now is we'll see if we can get this hanger off on this side. Pretty good on this end. We'll go ahead and go underneath the other side of the truck and see if we can get out of that hanger. Alright, so here we are underneath the truck again. We're going to go ahead and use this tool. It's a ball joint separator. It's actually, I think it's going to work out pretty good. We used it on the other side already. So let's try to do that. These are a bit of a pain, so you might have to pull what you got it here. Alright. Okay, we got this section out. Now we'll get this to the side. Sucker is heavy. The new one is a lot lighter than this. Alright. Here she is. This thing's pretty heavy. We'll go ahead and compare it to the new one. Alrighty, so here we have the old piping here. You can see this is a 3-inch, this is a 5-inch. Should give us a little throatier sound. Hopefully we can hear the turbo a little better. But yeah, let's go ahead and start this other process here and install this new piping. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and try and install this bad boy first. And I am gonna go ahead and lubricate those rubber mounts, little more some WD-40, some lubrication, just in case. And use that extra push. So there are 2 of these bad boys. So just make sure you align them both. Went in pretty easy thanks to that lubrication. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and put this other piping right here. We're gonna go ahead and put that bad boy on. Go ahead and get that. You want to make sure to put your clamp on before you try to put any other piping on, because then you have to pull it all apart again. So we'll go ahead and put this nice clamp here. I'm going to want it facing down towards me. So I'll go ahead and do that. Push that to the side. We're going to slide our new. The good thing is about these rubber mounts too is there's a lot of play and movement. So we're going to push that to the side while I install this new piping. So I did push my the new piping towards me all the way, so I'm gonna have to back it up actually. Give me a little more wiggle room. There we go. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that hanging. I think it slides in too easily, so that's gonna work out pretty good once we get this bad boy installed. So 3 holes, 3 studs. Should fit right about. Worked out easily due to the fact that these flanges were CNC'd. So another thing to note is you want to lubricate these studs popping out. Make sure nothing gets stripped, nothing like that. So got 2 out of 3. Got this third one right here. And you want to make sure you have those gaskets on there. So now we'll go ahead and tighten these bad boys up. Little at a time here. Second one. Last one. Now we're going to go and put this put the portion of the piping in. Sure those place. Ready? Okay. So we got this section installed now. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and move to the other portion. We don't really want to tighten anything these clamps yet. There is going to be some wiggle room. We also want to do the placement of the pipe. Make sure everything fits nice. And go ahead and move on to the next portion back there. Alrighty, we're underneath the truck here again. We're going to install this portion of the piping. So everything's loose, so you're going to be able to move it, wiggle everything around. Like I say, you're going to want to make sure you have your clamping on there. It does take some finessing, although you do have a lot of wiggle room here with the piping. So I got that installed. That's his hanger in there. Alrighty, got think we're good. I think we're gonna go ahead and move on to the clamp side now. We also got to make sure to install the sensor. So we'll go ahead and rearrange our salve cleanup a little bit and move on to the next step. Alrighty, so we're underneath the truck again. I think we're happy where everything sits. We're gonna start clamping some stuff down. We're gonna clamp this one first and bolt down these 15mm bolts and go from there. So let's go ahead and tighten this bad boy down. Go ahead and get this wrench. Everything's nice and tight. We don't want nothing falling off on the road. Yeah, having it loose was ended up being the best bet here. Just to have a little more wiggle room, a little more play, get those hangers on. Actually, the rubber mounts. A little finessing will do the trick. We got this side done here. So now we'll go ahead and move on to the clamp, the other clamp, and the sensor. We want to make sure to put some anti-seize on that sensor. So I'm gonna go ahead and move myself to the other side. We'll get some of this anti-seize here. Just put it on the threads. You don't want to get crazy with it either. You don't want to get anything on the actual sensor itself. So a little bit goes a long way. Alright. That should be plenty. I'm going to set this in place carefully. Make sure not to cross-thread anything either. Everything's going in easily by hand now, so we're good there. We're not cross-threading anything. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it down again with our 24 millimeter wrench here. You want to make sure everything's nice and tight. You don't want the sensor falling off on as well. Everything's going in a lot smooth and when pulled it out. You want to make sure everything's lubricated properly. This helps you out in the long run as well. Just in case you want to pull it out, in case you have another truck you want to put it on. This is going to be the daily for me, so I'm keeping it on this bad boy. Just nice and snug there. Alright, next thing we're going to move on to this clamp. I think I'm happy where it sits at. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually jump on and clamp this bad boy up now. So let's see which way is the best way for me to right there. Let's see if I can get my tension here. There we go. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to the tip side. Alright, so we got our 5-inch MBRP Polish tip. Beautiful tip here. We're gonna go ahead and install this. See where we're gonna like it at, and we'll start screwing it down. So let's get a visual here. I think where it sits that's pretty nice. So go ahead and tighten it down with this 8mm Allen head. Nice little tugs there. Solid.
So guys, if you are looking for an affordable way to add a little bit more growl and a much tougher look to the rear end of your Super Duty, you have to check out the MBRP installer system right here at AmericanTrucks.com.